It's Sunday the 22nd of December in the Vendée Globe, the skipper's 42nd day at sea, and we start off with a close cross in the Pacific Ocean when Boris Herrmann was overtaking Yannick Bestaven. We then give you an update from Sam Goodchild, and then Boris Herrmann himself, who's dreaming of a white Christmas, and then Paul Meilhat, who is just dreaming of having a dry boat. We then bring you the tracker, the leaderboard, PredictWind routing options, especially as this storm develops as it approaches Cape Horn, and then an update from Pip Hare on her slow boat to Melbourne.
C'est Boris! Génial! On se croise, c'est chaud! En plein milieu du Pacifique, quoi! Yeah!
Hi everyone, it's Sam on Vulnerable. We're here having a tea with the Queen, just to give you a little bit of an update. So we're here about 2,500 miles from Cape Horn, in the middle of the Pacific, and we've had a busy few days. The night is just gone, and we've had a bunch of squalls coming through with anything from 20 knots to 40 knots, which is quite difficult and quite a big sea stage. So makes it quite difficult to sail overpowered, so we've been sailing quite a lot frustratingly underpowered to make sure we don't break anything. And looking at the speeds of everyone else around me, it seems to be like it's the case for everyone. So hopefully it will calm down and we'll be able to put some more sail area up and get moving again. And otherwise we've been fairly busy on the boat. I've had a bit of splicing to do. I had to repair a tack line cover which broke, to remember how to use the splicing needles again. I did it a few times. We've got a leak in the boat. There's I think one of the keel lips has come off, so there's water being pushed into the keel box and it's under pressure the whole time. And that's leaking in through one of the seals, which means I have to pump water out the boat every 6 hours or so. Nothing too serious. And the water pilot let go for an hour yesterday, just no real explanation, just stopped working. We essentially looked for everything and ended up turning it off and on and again, and it worked, which is not very reassuring, but there you go. Feels like the boat's, there's lots of little kind of creaks and crones everywhere, and it's getting a little bit tired, so it's time to go through a nice light spot and have a full check of everything and make sure we're in good shape. So hopefully that will come soon, probably after Cape Horn. Cape Horn at the moment is looking like just under a week away, so we'll go around the 28th. So yeah, we've got another just under a week of Southern Ocean sailing, and then hopefully going up the Atlantic. We can have a bit of a check on everything, make everything's okay. There you go. So that's news from on board Vulnerable. See you soon. Still wet outside.
Wow, look at the snow! Such dense snowfall. This gives me the Christmas feeling. White Christmas. I need to change my playlist. You hear this? That's the hail.
About the race, I had a hard moment 3 days ago with the water leaks and since 3 days it's better because with Sam Goodchild we are neck to neck and it's really nice because we have exactly the same boat. We just have different foils and we speak a lot on WhatsApp, so that's nice. And it's pushing me to going faster and faster, so that's good. And for the rest of the fleet, I think the weather is really good to get back to the front. Not to the front to the first three on the fleet, but to maybe to be closer from Thomas. I think Justine can come back and maybe we can have a fleet of 6-7 boats closer maybe in Cape Horn. All's good on board. I still have problem and issue with leaks, with water leaks, but we try to reduce it as much as possible, and we work on the system with a canister to take all the water straight in the canister and to avoid that the water could going everywhere on the boat. So I'm waiting for better condition with no winds and no waves to work on the roof and to fix it definitely.
Looking at the tracker at 0600 hours, we can see our leader Yoann Richomme there taking a slightly more northerly course than Charlie Dalin in second place. Seb Simon has dropped back a bit. He's on port jibe, so that starboard foil which broke really is handicapping him at the moment. Then we move on to the group from 4th to 11th place, who are approaching the longitude of Point Nemo, the point which is furthest from any landmass on Earth. We've got Thomas Ruyant in that group in 4th, down to Justine Metreau in 11th. We can then see in 12th and 13th places are Clarice Kramer and also Sam Davies, dogged by that light wind. And actually we can see that Benjamin Dutroux is catching those two, and so they really have been affected by that light wind. We've got Roman Atanasio, who is just passing the longitude of the South Island of New Zealand together with Damien Seguin. And then the next group who are coming into the Pacific Ocean, we've got Violet d'Orange and then also Conrad Coleman, who described traversing the south of Australia like being in its sub-basement. And we can see there Pip Hare approaching Melbourne, Australia with her broken rig, and we'll hear from her in a bit. The ranking shows us that lead that Yoann Richomme has built up, 37.87 nautical miles and averaging nearly 2 knots faster over the last 24 hours, and Seb Simon dropping back to 346 miles off the lead. Thomas Ruyant there we can see in 4th place, and there Boris Herrmann, who overtook Yannick Bestaven in that incredibly close manoeuvre, is now 14 kilometres ahead. We can see there Clarice Kramer, and it's now 1,150 nautical miles behind Justine Metreau. Just so painful watching that. And we can see there in 18th place now Yoann Richomme, the leading daggerboard boat. Sailworld.com's New Zealand editor Richard Gladwell has done the routing options for Yoann Richomme. You can see he uses the eastern end of that low pressure system approaching Cape Horn. And now all of the options go to the east of the Falkland Islands. It's then he enters a transition zone along the Argentinian coast as he makes his way north, and you can see there's more pressure behind, which has the potential to really compress the fleet, and that chasing pack could actually catch the top three a bit. PredictWind is suggesting quite a northern route for Thomas Ruyant in 4th place, as using this depression and then the wind that funnels down from the north. The pressure isn't looking quite as bad as it did yesterday, 40-45 knots rather than the 50-55 knots that we saw then, but this could change. And then coming up to Cape Horn on Boxing Day. It then gets extremely complicated in the South Atlantic, going to the west of the Falkland Islands for Thomas, and then through those transition zones it really is difficult with lots of light patches, so it could be a real game of snakes and ladders as we move into December the 29th and 30th.
Hello. So it's day 6 now on the slow boat to Melbourne. We've travelled 280 miles since dismasting, and I'm going to break the 500 mile barrier today. So currently there's 506 miles to Melbourne. I'm pretty happy with the progress we made yesterday. It actually really felt great to get moving. And last night, kind of for the first time, I was able just to sit on deck and chill for a bit. And what was incredible about that was I just heard this little plop next to the boat, and I thought, what's that? And then again, and this seal, a tiny little seal, I mean, it looks like a juvenile to me, but I don't know anything about these things, came next to the boat and was playing with the boat for half an hour. It was just magical, absolutely magical, and I could have sat for hours and watched it, and I did talk to it a lot. It just looked like it was having a lot of fun. And so mad to be, I didn't even know that seals just hung out in the middle of the ocean like that. I kind of thought they were next to the edges, never imagined that they were in the middle. So that was quite special. And then this morning I woke up and I looked out of the cabin windows on the starboard side, and there was an orange light coming through, and I got up and went out to see the most amazing sunrise, just spectacular. And I guess it's just a reminder that all of the rubbish things that have happened in the last week or so, just what an utter privilege it is to still be out here and see these things and experience these things. You know, I'm one of the few humans on the planet that gets to see this, and I do feel lucky. Despite everything, I do feel lucky. I just downloaded the latest weather forecast, and it's not full of joy. The major thing is that at the moment, in a week's time on the 27th, the forecast is showing a huge depression coming straight across my path, and I mean huge. This is my big concern in the next week. It's still 7 days away. It's forecast for the 27th, which is the day after the Sydney-Hobart starts, and it's windy. I mean, really windy. So here, this is 67 knots on the grid file there. Here that's 56. So all around the centre of this depression, it is unbelievably windy. So it's not the best forecast, but that's kind of the nature of it. You know, we don't get to pick the weather. We just have to work out how we're going to deal with it. And it's interesting. It's actually interesting for me because I've gone from being in a boat where I can position myself ahead of weather system, and now I've gone to completely the opposite end of the spectrum where I am totally at the mercy of what comes. I cannot get out of the way. I just need to try and position myself as well as possible and then be ready to deal with it when it arrives. I did make a deal with myself on about day 2 that I wasn't going to just kind of fester away. I think it would be really easy with this kind of amount of time and this slow progress, and it would be really easy just to sit around and just let life happen to you. But I kind of made a deal with myself that I was going to try and do something every day to make my situation better. I was thinking about what I could do now. I think the sails are as good as I'm going to get them. What could I do now to make a difference? And I've been having waves breaking into the back of the boat a lot. And that is because there's still a lot of weight in the back of the boat. And now we need the weight in the bow. I think that will help a lot with making progress. So my job today is going to be to move all of the sensible weight that I can up into the bow. That's going to be quite a workout, and hopefully that will make life easier with the waves coming into the cockpit and might actually help us again with kind of making ground to windward. So this sail here, I'm going to put that in the bow too, and then I think that's my work for the day done.
And finally, you'd think that Charlie Dalin would be getting a little bit anxious, what with Yoann Richomme having overtaken him and built his lead to nearly 40 miles. But as this clip shows, he looks anything but, and maybe he is just biding his time for the Atlantic. Thank you very much for watching this extended update today. Please do subscribe to our channel using the button down here, and also take a look at sailworld.com and yachtsandyachting.com for all the latest news in sailing.